Cool. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, what's going on, everybody? Got another podcast here today, and got a new guest here with us. We'll introduce him in a second, but real quick, I want to shout some things out real fast and take care of some business. So first off, we hit 500 subs, and I want to thank all of you for that. It means a lot to me that you guys show up stream after stream or whatever video I make, and y'all got me to 500 subs, which I never thought was going to happen. If you watch this channel for any time, you know it was just not supposed to get anywhere, but it's gotten somewhere, so that's fun. That's cool. So I'm going to keep going. Other things, I want to start a donation for St. Jude's. So we're going to get into a topic later on about charities and whatnot. I don't want to spoil anything right now, but I feel like we as a community should do something and help the people out there. And so I've had a St. Jude donation set up for a long time, and I kind of want to start pushing on that a little more. So it's the holidays. If you can donate $1, 50 cents, whatever, it goes a long way, and the hospitals will, or the St. Jude would really appreciate that. So links in the description in all my videos. So please click that link and give what you can. So yeah, I'm here with a new person for the Spud Club, and we're going to talk to him and get to know him and see if other people hop in. And if you want to drop in a comment, I got my chat up and we'll respond to your comments. And so welcome. Feel free to introduce yourselves and tell us your whole history on gaming and where you're at today.
Hey, MrSuprPotato. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Been a fan for a while now. Congrats on the 500 subscribers. At one point, I was trying to keep an eye on it so I could unsubscribe to get it to $4.99 just so I could resubscribe and say I was 500. But I didn't quite make it. I got there and it was like 503. So I was like, man, I just missed my chance. But
oh, that's funny.
But no, that's great.
That's pretty good. I didn't even think about that, but yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, no, for sure. My name is Joel, or on YouTube, it's Run Me Through, and my gamer tag on PlayStation and Xbox is Charybdis. So, I mean, I could go into pretty much anything. The YouTube handle, some people kind of give me a hard time about it, and basically it started because my brother and I formed a band, about 2009, and we like Iron Maiden, and one of the lyrics in one of their songs, The Trooper, is basically you fire your musket, but I'll run you through. And so I kind of like the idea of that. So I started that in the hopes of it being the band's YouTube channel, but ended up switching the name. So I just kind of kept the channel as my own personal thing.
Okay, let's pause right there. I just want to talk about that Maiden thing. I don't know how I made that connection, because I love Iron Maiden and the Troopers. That's one of my favorite songs. But for somehow, like when you started watching my channel when I was playing Majora's Mask and it was Run Me Through, I kind of thought it was like Run Me Through the game, because you kept like giving me tips and where to go. I'm like, this guy's helping me out, but I feel like I'm cheating, but I'm still gonna use it. Then one day I was kind of like, I think you had shot me a message on something, and I looked at it, I'm like, Run Me Through. That reminds me of Iron Maiden. Maybe it came from that. So I don't know. But anyways, I'm sorry. That was just a quick side note of what I was thinking about.
No, I'm glad, because part of me when coming up with the name was hoping that other metal heads and fans of Iron Maiden would kind of recognize it. And mostly what I get was, oh, it sounds gay, like, oh, you want some guys to run you through, and so it was that kind of caused the other band members to be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Maybe we should change it. And for me, I never thought of it like that. I just thought of me being in that guy's shoes, who was, I fired the musket, but now I'm being ran through. So it's like, run me through.
Yeah.
And, so that was that. And at the time I didn't have my own YouTube channel. I'm kind of late to getting into stuff. Like I didn't have a MySpace forever. I didn't have, that's going way back. I didn't have a Facebook for years and years after it started, and didn't have an Instagram for even longer. And I wasn't really into the whole social media thing. I really ended up getting into it because the family was on and people wanted to see what was going on in my life and to see what was going on in their life. And so I finally slowly would join up places. So like I said, I created the YouTube and channel and said, you know what, I'm just going to make this my own since I'm not using it for the band. And then for the gamer tag, Charybdis, it's actually Greek mythology. From what I understand, it's from where the saying caught between a rock and a hard place came from, where in Greek mythology there was a part in the sea that the sailors had to watch out for because there was a monster on the island, and his name was Scylla, and he would reach out onto the ships and tear sailors from the ships and eat them. And then there was Charybdis, which was, I can't remember the lore exactly, but it's basically like she was like a nymph or something, and she got punished by Zeus and was turned into a sea monster. So, and she would make these whirlpools that would swallow the ships in the sea. So, I mean, if somebody's out there and they know more, or maybe I decide to do the research again, I'll double check that. But that's what I remember. So it was Scylla and Charybdis, and I had a good friend of mine, and we used to play Halo all the time. And so my brothers and I would play. And when my buddy and I would play together, we would do double team a lot. And I came up with the idea of, hey, why don't we just go by Scylla and Charybdis, because you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Either one of us is good enough to take you out.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's kind of like, okay, so that's where we got that. And since then, he's changed his gamer tag a couple times, and I just kind of kept mine the same for years now.
Nice, awesome. Who we got here? Who's hopping? Salmon Ears, what's up, dude? Good to have you.
How's it going?
Going well. I just screwed everything up. I'm sorry, guys watching. All right. I just screwed up. Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna figure out Discord. I screwed something up.
Hey, Salmon Ears, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm glad somebody else could make it. That way, it wasn't going to be just me telling my life story the whole time.
That's all good. Salmon Ears had to do it last time. But
okay.
Charybdis, could you just keep going through and tell us how you got into gaming and basically where you are today with it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm old. I'm an old man. I started way back in the day. I was 3, turning 4, and my birthday is at the end of the year in December, so it's like way late. So I remember specifically going over to a friend's house from church. My parents were into the church, and so we went over to these kids' houses, and they were older. They were like 8 and 11, and they were playing this game that I just thought was awesome. It had this green guy with a shield, and he had a sword, and the sword had these light beams that would come out, and there was like some sort of little thing shooting rocks out of its mouth, and different kind of little creatures throwing spears. And I couldn't read or understand that stuff, being 3 years old, and come to find out it was The Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo. So that was the very first game I ever played. And I remember specifically their mom making them let me play, because they wanted to play something else, and I hadn't got a turn yet, and I wanted to play this game that I was just enamored with. So I'm playing it, and they were trying to get me to pick the save and quit option. If I remember correctly, there's like continue, save and continue, and then save and quit. And they kept trying to get me to pick save and quit so that they could turn it off. And I was smart enough to know that when they were playing, they didn't pick that ever. Yeah. And so I was like, no, that's not the right option. But so I got into it back then. That was 1988 was the first time. And so I didn't own an NES. The first system I owned was the Super Nintendo. And just all the games for that, Link to the Past, Super Nintendo, or Super Metroid, ActRaiser, all the Donkey Kongs except for 3. So really only 2, Donkey Kong 1 and 2. And my mom ended up getting, my parents split up and she got remarried. And my dad, he didn't do anything gaming. He wasn't into gaming at all, nothing. But my stepdad was heavy into it. So he did PC stuff. He played Diablo and StarCraft and all kinds of different stuff. And he also would buy the consoles. So he was huge into the Nintendo, and then he had the Super Nintendo. And when I would go to my mom's house, that's when I was opened up to this big library of games. They had like Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 and ABC Monday Night Football and and just all kinds of different games there, Star Fox. And so I remember lots of good memories of, because my stepbrother was actually my best friend at school. So we ended up just picking up, and we were basically, they used to joke that we would share the same brain because our birthdays were 2 days apart. We liked all the same stuff. We would sit and play Contra 3. I remember playing Contra 3 Alien Wars with him, and we would put it on the hardest difficulty and just farm extra lives, and we'd stay up all night, mastering that. We knew what was coming before it came, and we just loved doing all that gaming together. And then one day the Nintendo 64 came out, and we got home from school, and it's like, hey, I got a Nintendo 64. My stepdad says, here's the new system. And it's like, oh, great. And the only downside was he took our Super Nintendo and traded it in at the Funko Land.
Oh,
so
no.
all the games and the system was all gone. And that's how he got the 64. So I was pretty bummed when that happened because, I definitely would have liked to keep those other games, especially like the Super Metroid and Castlevania's some of the more expensive ones, Turtles in Time.
Yep.
But yeah, so then got into Nintendo 64, and that system. I didn't own my own system because at that time my one of my younger brothers was a little older, and my grandma was like, well, I bought you the Super Nintendo and that was your time, and now it's his turn for a system. So she bought him the Nintendo 64. And I think I was telling you the other day that the only games that I have from my childhood that actually survived, like complete in-box with manuals and advertisements, were for the 64, because since I didn't own the system, all I had was the games. So I really cherished the games. And those games were Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. And both of them are the collector's edition, the gold cartridge. And I have the guides for them. I remember Ocarina of Time was the very first game that I ever went to a midnight release for. And I've only did a midnight release for three things. And it was for Ocarina of Time. I did it for Final Fantasy 12. And I did it for the Super Nintendo Classic, the one that just came out a couple of years ago, the Mini.
Yeah.
But that was the first one. I remember going inside. It was still Funko Land. GameStop hadn't bought them out yet. And got my guide, got my copy of the game, and went home, turned it on, and it was just blown away by the graphics, because I went from seeing the 8-bit Zelda, the first time I was playing it as a little kid, like that blew me away. And then seeing, A Link to the Past was also like, oh man, this is awesome. But you had to be there to see the jump. A lot of people say, hey, it doesn't really hold up. It's kind of ugly. And I don't agree with that, because I was there. The top down really does still look beautiful, but when you see that jump to the 3D and you see Link riding on Epona and you hear that flute music playing, it blew me away. And I was like, man, this is amazing. So
yeah, I think it's tough for kids or people that have seen all the graphics we have now, and they didn't grow up with the old graphics like we all did, to go back and try to play those old games. And like they look at everything as it should look good. They prioritize graphics over gameplay in a story. And so I can understand that, but obviously we went through that. We saw those leaps, so it's easy for us to go back. Does that make sense?
Oh no, definitely. Yeah, because I mean, when I was younger, people would say, "Oh, you had to be there to understand it," and I was always like, "Well, that's kind of ridiculous. That's like a cop out answer." But now that I'm older and lived through that, it really is like you had to be there to understand it and to live through it and to see the jump. And no, I mean, it's not the most beautiful game. I'm not completely ignorant when it comes to that. There's obviously better games that are out now that look better, and even the updated version for the 3DS looks amazing. But when you go from top down Legend of Zelda, or you're playing on the Game Boy, Link's Awakening, and then all of a sudden it's Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like that was just a huge leap. And it just it just blew everybody away. In my family, it was like, oh, look at this. We had Mario first. It was like, look at Mario, Mario 64, this is amazing. But for me, it really was that Ocarina of Time. It was just, I just can't even explain it. I mean, I'm sure you played it, but
oh yeah. Yeah, awesome ones. All right, so that was your childhood. So what kind of games do you like to play today? Like, well, what are you into now?
Honestly, the same stuff. I try to keep up with Nintendo for Legend of Zelda. Admittedly, I had Switch and Breath of the Wild when it first launched. Like, got it right away. The only problem was is I still haven't to this day played Breath of the Wild, and I've got Tears of the Kingdom, and I haven't played that yet. And some people are like, "Man, how do you not playing them? You bought them." And my whole thing is I have just a backlog of games that I really want to get through, and I'm the type of gamer that when I start a game, I like to finish it. I don't really have a whole bunch of them going at once because I kind of lose track of where I'm at, or I really don't want to have to get a guide and try to figure out where I'm at in the middle of it. And I really wanted to focus on some of the Zelda games I'd missed out on because, like I was talking about with you beforehand, being in a band and stuff, like music was a big part of my life for a great number of years, and I didn't do any gaming at all. So I kind of fell behind. So for me, I wanted to play um, Hyrule Warriors, and I wanted to play Skyward Sword. And then by the time I had those ones going, Link's Awakening, the remake had come out, and then I was able to get my hands on Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for Wii U. So I really want to go through those old ones and catch up to the new stuff, but have kids and other stuff going on, so I don't have as much time to game. So I'm literally like years behind on what's going on with newer games. And then Xbox, I love playing Halo. I really like Game Pass and how I can try out new games, but again, I don't really do a whole lot of that. And then for PlayStation, I buy PlayStations for Final Fantasy, which is another one that's kind of taken a hit and been pushed to the side. Where I had Final Fantasy 15 when it first came out, day one, and then I was able to get my hands on the collector edition with all the DLC in it, and I haven't even touched that, and that's been out since what, like 2015 now,
Yeah, it's
and
been
then
out for a
I
minute.
got yeah, it's been out forever. And I just picked up Final Fantasy 16, and part of me is like, why am I buying 16? I haven't even played 15, and it's going to be another 8 years before I get to it,
Yeah.
But uh, I buy what I like and, try to game when I can. And right now I'm on Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I'm about 40 hours into that. And then once I finish that, I got to go to Skyward Sword and then Link's Awakening. And then I'll finally be on Breath of the Wild. And then and then I've seen some of the jokes about Tears of the Kingdom taking 500 hours to complete, and some people are like going to be on their deathbed by the time they complete it. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, that's probably factual. That's going to be me.
Yep. I'm with you. Now, for Skyward Sword, are you gonna get the remake, or are you gonna play it on Wii?
Now I went with the Switch version because
Okay.
I hadn't owned the Wii. Like I stopped gaming between, like the PS2 was the last system I went and bought, and I was given an Xbox 360, somebody's secondhand one, and this was maybe like 2014, so it was way past when it came out. But I took a big break from gaming entirely and just wasn't really doing anything, so I had to go back and find out what would be easier, to buy the game for the original platform it was on, or buy it for the one, the newer version.
Yeah, I
Which
got
is
you.
why I didn't go GameCube, because I saw Wind Waker and Twilight Princess were already pretty expensive, but for the Wii U, they weren't that bad.
Yeah, I probably should have just bought a Wii U and bought those two games. I unfortunately am an idiot, and I bought them. That's why I'm kind of
Well, I
pushing
wouldn't say
myself
that.
through Wind Waker. Yeah, no, I would. I definitely didn't buy the proper Wind Waker. I bought the Player's Choice one, and then I didn't look to
Okay.
see if there was a manual in it, and so I had to buy manual that I found later on to make it complete. So I spent more
Okay.
money on that game than I should have. But when I bought Twilight Princess on the GameCube, I made sure it was complete and in good condition. Because you're paying over $100 for a game, you're gonna make sure it's good.
Yeah, I'm pretty anal when it comes to that stuff. I've never understood why games don't have the manuals. I just, growing up, once they came in the cases like that and they weren't cardboard boxes, it didn't make sense for me why the manual would be taken out and lost. I can't really grasp
I
that
don't get
concept,
it.
but
I can't stand when people take it out of the case and they like put it like on the side of the TV or whatever, and they don't put the game back in the case. Like, you paid
Yeah.
a shit ton of money for that. Take care of it.
Yeah.
I've been that way since I was a kid. I don't know. Blows my mind.
No, I feel you. And so yeah, if I'm getting a game, I try to get it complete in a box. And I'm not one of those people that won't take a greatest hits copy. I am, if it's not the first option, and I try to go black label for a
Mhm.
lot of the PlayStation games or the ones that are non-platinum fights. I think it's for the 360, right? But if that's my only option, then I'll do it. But yeah, I like to have the manual. And then now it's sad because you just get in the case with the game and there's nothing else in there. And
Yeah.
it's
Now
just,
you don't get anything, but
Not even
yeah.
extra.
not extra what?
Not even extra artwork.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's sad nowadays. Like, I saw somebody opened up the new Mario, not the new one, Mario RPG, and they were like, I don't know, gushing over it. I'm like, it looks stupid. There's nothing on the inside, and on the cart, it's just Mario standing there and with a white background. I'm just like, what is this crap? And that actually I got upset about. If I had bought that, which I'm never going to, that would make me mad. But all right, so let's get into our first topic. Well, thanks for everything you said. I appreciate that. Well, everybody knows who you are now, and so I like doing like a background on everybody so people kind of understand like who we're talking to, or I'm talking with. All right, let's see. Talked about that. All right, so we just had Black Friday. Let's talk about our new pickups. So, Sam and Ears, did you pick up anything new in the last? I'd just say like the last month, since the last time we talked. Actually, it's been about a month.
Well, I have like a list of things I would like to buy.
All right. Well, how about this?
Um,
Things that you want to buy and or things you're playing now.
Yeah, so my wife just picked back up because we have a LG 4K smaller TV now. She just repicked up Assassin's Creed Odyssey because she was playing that for forever and a day. I think she had like over 100 hours in it, but she never got all the way to Atlantis, and so she just got into that. So that's pretty cool to see. I haven't
Nice.
seen that on there yet.
Very nice.
Me, the only game I've purchased recently since we have spoken is another one of our topics, which is the new Call of Duty game. And I have played that relatively frequently with my brother over the last week or so. And while I certainly agree with the take that is the topic of COD and the fact that it's basically just a reskin every year, we've been enjoying it. I wouldn't tell you that I would support paying $70 for it if I wasn't playing it with my brother. In fact, I haven't even actually played the game when I haven't been playing with my brother, if that explains that. But it's super smooth and looks good. It looks like a modern game. But if you are into zombies at all, you will be just so sadly disappointed. Because it's basically just like evac that they had on the last COD, where you would drop in, you'd go up against different teams, you'd try to get resources out, and then you would you'd get extra stuff to redeploy with the next time. That's basically what it is, except you deploy with a team of 4 or whatever onto what I assume is going to be the whatever you call it, map. I don't know what they're calling their new iteration of 100 people on a map is, but
The war zone.
yeah, I don't know if they're still calling it that.
No,
Maybe they
I
are.
don't know.
But it's basically their Warzone map, and there's zombies on it, and you evac. Like, that was the only thing going on there. I was very saddened.
Okay, so it's still a $70 game, right? Did you get it out at a discount or anything?
No, I straight up paid $70. You could get the discount if you purchased the last gen version, but I purchased the current gen version, not just so that I could play on the current gen, but also because it came with the last gen version. So if I want to play with my wife, who will occasionally play Call of Duty with me or my brother and his wife, if she's taking a break in the evening or whatever, sometimes she plays with them. she and I could technically play together on last gen console and new gen console, and that's actually how my brother plays it currently with his wife. Of course, he plays on the new gen console, which she plays on the last console.
Of course. Wow,
I
that
don't think
blows my mind that they're still making games for the Xbox One and the PS4. Like, that's,
Right? We are like 3
wow.
years in.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, it works out for you guys, right? That like you're benefiting from that. That's good, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
And and I think for most people, like I haven't purchased a Call of Duty game since the last World War II one that they put out, Sledgehammer put out. So it's been a long time since I've played a COD game.
Okay.
So I mean, I played Warzone, so it's not like I'm like that rusty, but you know, it's Call of Duty, but it doesn't feel too repetitive to me at this point because I haven't played in a while. But you do have like that weird mix of nostalgia and being pissed off when you play on a map that you've played 1,000 times, but it just looks slightly different. Because that's literally every single map that released with the game. But I will say there's been a good enough mix of maps that I think there's some that I still haven't played on yet. I haven't overplayed any map yet, which is good. But I'm a limited time player. I think I've played maybe 6 total hours in 2 weeks or so. So I'm not an all the timer by any means, but it's been enjoyable.
So for you, I can see how it's worth it because you haven't bought a Call of Duty like you said since I think 2018. The Sledgehammer World War II came out. I'm just kind of thinking. I don't know if that's correct, but I get it. So for someone like myself, I bought every iteration until this one because this looks exactly like the last one. I don't see a benefit for me spending $70 right now on this game, so I'm passing. Probably.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, especially given that there's not only does it look similar, not only does it play similar, but you don't even have the benefit of them, you know, being creative with different map styles or something like that. Like it's quite literally maps you've already played.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many other games out there right now. Like I obviously can go back and play the last Call of Duty. I can go back and play the older ones from like 10 years ago. That iteration of Call of Duties that they fixed the servers, or Microsoft did because they now own COD, and that's awesome. I get my fix that way. Also, Halo Infinite right now is booming. Like I get on there with Charbonus. We're gonna get on there all the time. We've only done it once. I think Joe, did I play with you on Halo? I don't know if I did, but yeah, okay, yeah, we played. So that's where like I can get my fix right there, and I don't need to spend that $70, and I have a blast just doing that. So but I get it. All right, so for me, Call of Duty's not worth it. For you, it's pretty good. So let me get into this too. Halo and Call of Duty right now are having skill-based matchmaking issues where you can't get into a match that's not sweaty. Meaning, like, I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, how do y'all feel about it right now? Is SBMM fair? Do you like it? Like, what's your all's take?
My 2 cents is it's frustrating as a person who plays video games as infrequently as I do to play against people who play all the time. I understand the idea behind that. I don't know. I think the algorithms still need a little bit of work. Like I appreciate skill-based matchmaking in that they're trying to make an attempt to improve the quality of the gaming across the swatch of people, right? So like they want the average gamer experience to be better, but I don't think it's being implemented appropriately at this point. And maybe something they could take into account is, does this person play for 8 hours a day? Because that might be a good thing to keep in mind. But like me, for instance, I don't even know how their algorithms work, but I basically play 2 game modes on COD. I play Domination in hardcore, and I play Kill Confirmed in hardcore, because those are the only 2 game modes my brother likes playing. So like my score per minute, if I were to try to play like team deathmatch, if it's factoring in my domination score per minute, I'm going to be put in probably with people that are way better than me, because in domination I get a lot of captures. I don't get a lot of kills. But if I were to play team deathmatch, I can't imagine me doing very well.
Yeah.
And you saw me my butt kicked in Halo. Not that I've played Halo nearly as much as I've played COD, but yeah, I could use some work, and there were definitely people on there that were, shall we say, talented.
Yeah. I'm just sick of always going through sweat matches, you know. Like I think I like skill-based matchmaking if it's in ranked, right? Like if I want to play a ranked game, let me do that. But if I just want to play casual and just chill with the boys, like I am totally fine with getting my ass completely destroyed every like 2 matches, and then I'm totally happy with destroying people like every other match, right? Or like every 2 matches, and then occasionally like 1/3 of the time it being close and it being sweaty. I don't need it sweaty every time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, my only 2 cents on that is that I would rather a game, and this is like any game. If I'm playing a first-person shooter or a sports game, I would rather it come down to the wire, so to speak, than my team basically dominate the whole match and win 200 to 75 or something if we're playing dom. I do appreciate when the people playing the game mode actually play the game mode. But I hear what you're saying, and also, why is there even a ranked approach on these different platforms if that's not where they're doing that, right? Like, why
Yeah.
are they doing that in casual when there's ranked game matches that they can do that in?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I think that I got burnt out playing those games because I really enjoy those games. Like I keep saying, my whole channel was started because of Apex Legends and how much fun I have there playing with like friends, you know. But it got so competitive. If I had missed a week for, say, I had a work trip to go on and I couldn't play, I felt like my skills dropped because you needed to be like good to get anywhere, to win, right? And it wasn't like I could take time to just chill. It was always sweat. And then I'm not saying like the guys I played with are great and they're still playing the game today. I don't know how they do that, but I felt like I was becoming a burden at times when I wouldn't play to their level. And so I kind of fell off of it. But that actually is why I started playing Zelda, because I needed a break and I wanted something different. And then, I am where I am now because of it. So, but
What you're describing too, I think, is something a lot of people experience that play competitive games. I know people who play, I'm speaking about this anecdotally, but I know people who play League of Legends that they'll drop 10 hours a day in League of Legends. And if you don't drop enough time and you don't get your stats high enough and you don't have a good enough rank, like within that community, you can be judged. People won't want to play with you because you didn't put in the time, which is crazy because you're not getting paid for that.
yeah, it's nuts, man. So
Yeah, for me, the height of that was Halo 2. That was probably the time that my brothers and I, we would put in, those 10 hours a day because we were young enough to do it. We didn't have wives, we didn't have kids, we didn't have, bills to pay really. And I remember specifically getting matching TVs that had the headphone jack in it. And, we'd be in different rooms playing, team matches, and we'd have our team of 4. And what's funny is my youngest brother, his wife was one of the people we'd swap in and out. She's amazing at Halo. She was better than I was. But it was all about, learning the jumps on the map, learning the callouts, learning where you needed to be positioned in a team of 4 match, all the tricks if you were going to do super jumps, how to no scope, how to BXR, how to BXB. And then they would get into it to the point where they would meet professionals. They'd come across, pros on there. I'm not sure if you guys were familiar with Final Boss. It was an MLG team that played Halo 2. And then there was another team called Team Carbon. And so it was like they actually became friends with these guys and would talk to them, and they learned how to play. And at one point they drove down to Los Angeles and stayed with Team Carbon, who actually beat Final Boss for the championship, I think one of the first years. And so they did training with these guys. So it was like a big thing where it was like all consuming of our lives. And then, I just the other night, literally like 2 nights ago, they hit me up. Hey, you want to play some Halo? We're going to play Master Chief Collection. So I get on there, and the first match, I think I had like 2 kills because we're not spending all that time playing it anymore. And then come to find out, you can, if you grew up playing Halo 2, you set the matchmaking to where it's only finding Halo 2 games. If you grew up playing 3, all the kids that played 3 are playing 3. And if you're a Reach kid, you're playing Reach. And so these people that are into it, they're just playing the one game over and over again. So if you have it set up to go to any of those games, and I go into it, it's like, oh, now I got to remember how to play Halo 1. Now I got to remember how to play Halo 3, and all of them have their own little quirks to it, right? So, like you said, yeah, if you don't have these 10 hours a day to put into it, you're getting wrecked by these other kids that just have the time to spend all day playing.
Sorry, guys. We just had Salts join. So Salts and I know each other from work, but we're not going to talk about what type of work we do. But anyways, Salts and I used to play Apex here and there, and then we play a little bit of Counter-Strike as well back in the day. But Salts, welcome. He was sitting in the chat. He was like trying to talk in the chat. It's like, bro, just join. Like, you're absolutely able to. You're definitely part of the Spud Club. So welcome in, Salts. Thanks for being a part of it. You want to do a quick introduction on you and what you're up to?
Not too much. Work keeps me pretty busy, but I've been a lot of 6 lately, so just trying to take a break from Call of Duty because that game is so toxic to me right now.
That's funny. All right, did you buy the new one?
Oh God, no.
Okay. Only Salmon here did, but that's okay. It's all good. So, all right. So, let's see. Charbonus, did we talk about what pickups you got?
For Black Friday?
Oh yeah, just in general.
Black Friday topic?
Well, yeah, Black Friday or anything in the last, say, month.
I haven't really picked up too much. For Black Friday, though, they were having a deal at Target. So Final Fantasy 16 was on sale. It's usually, $69.99. Had it on sale for $39.99. I have the little Target apps, so I went in there and there was 20% off. And then I ended up using some of the money. I had like $1 and some change credit on there. And then I also used the red card, so it got 5% off. So I ended up getting it for $31.25 exactly.
Nice.
So I thought that was good because I wasn't going to pay full price for that. And then while I was there, they had the Zelda and Ganondorf Tears of the Kingdom amiibos. They were the last 2 on the shelf. And I don't really need them, but I know how crazy some people get over the amiibos. So I figured I might as well buy them if they're the last ones there. Who knows? Maybe down the line they'll be like worth $50, $60 on eBay or something at some point if I just keep them sealed up. So that's really all I picked up.
All right, awesome. Salts, you pick up anything?
Any new games?
Yeah.
Not really. I kind of been messing around on like free to play games on Steam, just looking to see what's available. And I found a couple of cool games. Polygon, I was playing a lot. Not sure if you guys heard of that. It's a little first-person shooter, conquest playstyle.
Okay.
Basically, like they only got like 4 or 5 maps. It's all in like beta.
Okay.
But it's kind of cool. And then there was another game I was playing for a bit, but there's like not enough player base to even load into one server. So
I saw you playing Minecraft the other day.
Me, really? I wasn't on Minecraft. It might have been my wife on my Xbox.
Yeah, I was saying Discord saying you were playing something, so I was thinking, well, what a freaking nerd. I got my 5-year-old playing that now. But...
Yeah, don't hate on Minecraft, man. You can lose yourself in that game.
No, I can't. No, I'm good. But if you don't like I'm just talking
cool,
shit.
I was gonna say that's pretty cool. Your guys' wives like the game too, because
oh yeah,
some people their wives can't get into it. Like I said, my youngest brother, his wife was all about Halo. We used to just get crazy with it, and she was one of these people. It was funny. She'd always say, "Stop stealing my kills." So then you'd stop helping her, and then she'd start dying, and she'd say, "Why aren't you guys helping me?" So it was sort of like, well, which one do you want? You know, you want the help or you want the kills? So, but my wife's a gamer too, but she was always into some of the I wouldn't say weirder stuff, but it's stuff I wasn't really into. And now her collection is, she has some games that are worth some money. So she's into like Resident Evil, and then she has like the Rule of Rose and Watchtower 3, I think it is, for PS2. And what we like to play together, because she doesn't like first-person shooters really. She's playing Breath of the Wild, but when we play together, we play Everybody's Golf. Like we really like to bond and kind of wind down playing that.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a game my wife and I have been playing. We Were Here game series. Super fun game. If you and your spouse like to play. It's basically like a big puzzle solving thing, and you have big story mode you guys play through, and you have to work together to solve these puzzles to escape certain areas of the map, and you progress through the storyline. It's actually really fun.
Is it like
nice.
It Takes
What
Two?
platforms is it on?
It's crossplay. That's the good thing.
Oh, sick.
So I play on PC. My wife will play on the Xbox, and we'll play it. The only downside right now that I see from it is we're having like some kind of communication issue, which is fine because PC and Xbox, we can just join an Xbox party together, and that just solves the communication problem. But the in-game comms are kind of booty, so just keep that in mind.
It tends to be like that when you're cross-platform. I've always noticed that. So, like, I like playing people on PC or Xbox because then we can just get on, like you said, the game chat, or not game chat, Xbox Live, the party chat, right? But if you get one of those PlayStation nerds in there, it's so hard to. Oh man,
just messes everything up.
Yeah,
it's like the Android users and the in the Apple.
It's like, come on, like be an adult, buy an Xbox or a PC. Yeah, but anyways,
one of the things I'm really bummed out is just the lobbies. Nowadays, because the only first-person game shooter I'm really playing is Halo Infinite, or I just jumped on the Master Chief Collection the other day. But back in the day, you used to go into a lobby and you could talk to your teammates or the opposing team. You get matched up and see who was on what team, and you could smack talk. And the infamous Call of Duty lobbies where people would keep stopping the match from starting just to sit there and trash talk. And the other day I'm looking online and it's like EA banned somebody for sending STFU to somebody in chat, and his whole account gets banned. And it's like, it's not even, he didn't even say the word. It's abbreviated, and we're banning people from their libraries and games.
Yeah,
it's like, what does the world come to? It's soft.
Agreed. And what I also don't like is when you're done with a match in Call of Duty, the whole lobby is disbanded. Like back in the day, you could be at the same lobby all night, trash talking each other all night and having fun. You don't really mean it. It's all just fun. And then now you can't do that because you got to go back into the home screen and then it searches for a new game. It's a mess. Anyways,
they don't make it the way it used to be. I mean, back in the day, you had a problem with somebody in the game, or somebody was teabagging you, and you message them, hey, 1v1. You guys would already have a map loaded up with the weapon set up for a 1-on-1 game or a 2-on-2 game, and you would take the beef out that way. And nowadays, it just doesn't go down like that, and you're afraid to say something in chat because you might get banned, or send a message to them. God forbid you tell them they suck or something, and they report the message, and you're banned from chatting for the next month. Yeah, like, what is going on?
It's so dumb. All right, so let's move on to our next topic here. Is everybody familiar with the completionist and what's going on with the completionist?
No.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I am not either.
Okay, no worries. This will be. Well, okay, so what happened is this guy, the completionist, he's a pretty big YouTuber. I don't know where he's at, but he's at least over 1 million. And his whole thing is he completes games. He'll like start a game and he'll get the game early, right? And he'll play all the way through and he'll tell you if you should buy it, rent it, avoid it, all these different ratings, right? And he completes the game, right? So he got pretty big, and he's big in the indie titles, and he really loves like what's that game? Yacht Club games. He really loves them, all the Yacht Club games they come out with. But he's got a charity, and his mom passed away from Alzheimer's at a young age. That's, you know, it's really sad, and it sucks, right? So he started a charity with his family, and they have been collecting, I think the hit was at 600,000. Correct me if I'm wrong, Charbitus, but they were saying all along that they were giving this to a certain charity, like at least $600,000 over like 16 years of them doing this. I could be getting my numbers wrong and dates wrong, but this is just the gist of it, right?
No, you're right. Technically, they had like around 800,000, but they spent 110,000 in expenses over the X amount of years they've been doing it.
Okay,
so the balance is like $655,000.
It's a lot of money, right? So that money has been sitting in an account, and it hasn't been donated, even though they've been saying they've been donating it. So it's getting to be a scandal. The completionist hasn't said a word. I haven't seen him put out a video, a short, a tweet, nothing. He's been silent ever since this news broke about what, 2 weeks ago now, 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think on November 13th.
Yeah, so it kind of sucks because I kind of like that guy. I didn't really watch his videos right away because he would get like Spider-Man 2 and have Spider-Man 2 completed like 2 days after it came out. Obviously, I don't have it, but I do like we were talking earlier, we got backlogs. I do want to beat those games, but he kind of spoils it for you. Not necessarily the storyline, but he will spoil parts of it. He doesn't mean to, but that's just kind of his thing. He's completing the game. He's going to spoil things. But just seeing...
In his defense, he does have a spot where he says spoiler warning and kind of like fast forward to this thing. And to be honest with you, when he first started, he was completing, games that you could do in a couple of days, if not in a sitting, Mega Man, Donkey Kong type stuff, Super Nintendo games, Genesis games. But as he got bigger and bigger and was making connections with people, he'd get his hands on these games early. And so it was kind of like he'd get it 2 weeks early, beat it, and then right on the day it launched, he's releasing whether you should complete the game or not,
Right.
So the controversy is that he's raised all this money for a charity, but the money has not yet been allocated to the charity. Is that the issue?
Even though
that's correct.
Yeah, a year ago he kind of said, he goes, "Yeah, we have the money." However, like he said, he just found out about this a year ago because his whole family kind of does the charity. He kind of just is the face, if that makes sense. He's the one with the YouTube channel.
Right. He's got the clout.
However, it's still been a year since he's done anything. And then he just had a charity stream, was it late October, that he was saying they have donated the money, and it come to find out they still have not donated a penny. So
what's funny is I've done a lot of research into it, and technically from their wording and even the way it's worded on the charity website, nowhere does it say they give the money to anybody. They say we're working with, they say we help out with. It's kind of like a way of words where they're not saying your money is going to these people for sure. But then at the same time, when he does the Indieland stream, he has kind of slipped up and said, we don't touch any of the money. It's going to go straight to, dementia research. So it's kind of like he's committing fraud because he's raising this money under the pretenses that it's going to go to these people. But at the same time, I guess he has the intention of it going to dementia research. So he's not lying. It's weird how they word it, like they purposely are wording it in a way that they can say, well, we never said we gave the money to these people. We're saying it's going to go to them.
Yeah, it's still misleading. Like when I donate to a charity, it's misleading. Like I started my podcast off today saying, click this link, like it's going to St. Jude. That money is not going in my pocket. Like that's going straight to St. Jude. Like if you donate any of it, therefore there is no ifs, ands, or buts about where that money is going. And I think that's like the only way you should do it. I don't like, it's going to show MrSuprPotato's group has donated this much money. So we kind of like, we'll take credit as a whole. Like we've raised this money, kind of what he's trying to do at Indieland. But he's accepting the money. I never knew he accepted that money. I always thought that went straight to the charity. Does that make sense? And
Yeah, that's the thing is they're
misleading.
like a middleman. They're taking all the money and they're supposed to be giving it to, whatever charity, but they're not doing it. And when you look at their website, what's funny is, supposedly his dad started the charity in 2003 when the mom was first diagnosed, and she was able to live another decade. She passed in 2013, 2014, and that's when the charity became like a public charity, and they started raising a lot more money for it. And then 2018, he starts the Indie Land thing where now he's using his platform to gain, all this money from followers and fans. And, he'd have like, game companies come on there and, they don't have Jamie Lee Curtis on there from Halloween, right?
Yeah.
So she's on there. So he's, got his connections with these people and they're making the money. But so his whole thing is, well, I didn't find out that they weren't donating the money till 2022. And it's like, even if you want to believe him, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. You've been doing the raising of charity funds since 2018 when you did the Indieland thing. So you weren't following up where the money was going or coming back doing an announcement video like, hey guys, we here's us donating the money, we raised X amount. He just kind of was like, well, here's the money, go ahead and donate it. I trust you. It's cool, and never checked on it. Ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me like the money was raised largely because of his community, right? And if it was his
Correct.
community, he has a certain amount of responsibility to that, right? So I can see the blame for that.
Yeah, and the only thing I could assume, and I hate to do that, but his dad's the president, his brother's a VP, he's a director, he's got sisters that are like treasury and directors on the charity. The only thing I could say, in his defense, if I wanted to go that route, is that there's kind of like a family like battle going on where his family is fighting over donating the money and he wants them to donate it, but he doesn't have the control to get it donated, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think the whole charity should be at fault here, obviously, right? And it just happens to be like he's kind of a famous figure in our world, right? Anybody else's world, they don't give two shits. I don't know what is going to come up with this. However, like obviously the money needs to be donated. It's pretty neat. The only good thing I see so far is they didn't touch any of that money, and that's obviously accumulated some sort of interest. Obviously, not enough that I think is I don't know, not enough for them to hold on to it.
The type of charity it doesn't gain any interest.
Okay, well then I thought it was just sitting in a bank account, so I assumed there was like a 1% or 0.1%. But all right, so that sucks.
No, the way it's set up as a 501c charity or whatever it is, it doesn't gain any interest. And some people say, well, that's good because that means that they're not using it to gain interest in the scale of the interest. But some people are saying, well, that's bad because if they had set it up a different way to gain interest, then the money it would still be worth more, because if you think about it, that money isn't worth nearly as much as it was 5 years ago because of inflation and whatnot. So depending on how you look at it, it could be a stupid thing or a good thing.
Either way, the money shouldn't have been sitting there. That money should have been donated like the week after they made it.
By law in California, you have to donate, I believe it's 5% every year. And they haven't donated any of it. So they're already breaking the law there. And then the way the money was raised was fraudulent. So that's already charity fraud there. You know, and one of the Some Ordinary Gamers video, he and Carl Jobst are the ones that had broke this open. I watched both of their videos, but in Some Ordinary Gamer's newest video, he actually kind of replies to some of the people that have came at him sideways on Twitter. And at the end of the video, he even says, this is where you can go specifically to report this charity to the IRS for fraud. So he's got like 3.6 million followers. So he's kind of calling out, the guns like, hey, if you want to report this, this is where you go. And if enough people report it, then the IRS is going to look into it. And then they're going to either have to donate that money or, possibly somebody's going to jail.
And that's where it should be at this point anyway. The IRS should take care of it, and then everybody can have their opinions about it once it gets reported.
100%. And I don't know if I don't wish any bad will on the completionist. He seems like a genuine guy in a bad situation. So I don't know if his channel is going to recover, but I do think by New Year's come, I think he'll have to say something, right? He'll have to put out some sort of video, but Time will tell. All right. Next topic. What do y'all think about the Zelda movie that was announced? What do y'all want? What do y'all want to see? What do you think is going to come up of it?
They announced a Zelda movie.
Yeah, bro, where you been?
I'm apparently not paying attention to that.
No.
I mean, the Mario movie made bank, so
Yeah.
the Zelda movie is bound to be successful. I didn't think the Mario movie was going to be anywhere near as good as it ended up being, so Nintendo will find a way, man.
Hold on. Salt, so you knew about the Mario movie, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that was hard not to know. Yeah.
All right. I would have been impressed. But you being you, I would have totally been like, that makes sense.
There's a couple things about it.
I'm up for it. The Zelda movie, as long as Chris Pratt is not voicing somebody in this fucking movie.
Well, it's live action.
End of that.
Oh, is it live action? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I'm kind of torn, because with the Mario cartoon, you were able to take fans who grew up loving Mario and who want to see a Mario movie, and they might go, hey, I'm like in my 30s and 40s, but I'm going to go because it's Mario. And then at the same time, they could take the kids to see it because it's a cartoon and to keep the kids busy. If it's live action, it's aimed for adults, which means, am I getting an R-rated Legend of Zelda, or is it going to be PG-13 to where the kids can't come? So then they're going to lose out the money on the kids, tickets. Or where if they went animated, at least you'd be able to take the kids, but it might not be as gritty for the adults. So it's kind of like, what's going to hang on. I'm excited to see what's going on with that.
That's a good thought process. I always kind of thought it's going to be like rated PG. I never thought they could turn this into almost rated R. I don't think they will, but now I'm hoping for it. That'd be sick.
Well, yeah, because it's Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, not happening.
No, but if it's going to be live action, I definitely would want it to be more adult. And I believe the studio that has it is Sony, which is funny because now Nintendo's working with Sony, who makes PlayStation.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, who are the actors they have on contract? The first one that comes to mind is Tom Holland.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's who they got for Uncharted. So is that going to be our link? Is Tom Holland?
That would actually, I would watch that. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah, I'm good with him. Who would be Zelda? Who was that chick that was in that chess show on Netflix? Voice of Princess Peach. So,
Tom Holland and Zendaya. Okay, it's all you got.
Yeah.
That would be so interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna watch it either way. Obviously, I'm gonna take my kids to watch it, but
yeah, I'm gonna be there day one. I just know there's so much that could go wrong, and I'm hoping that it doesn't, because with the way, especially since it's live action, the way they do live action movies now, it's like you already look in the Reddit forums and they're like, oh, well, Zelda's trans because she dresses up like Sheik. And then it's like, and they're going to start race swapping and gender swapping and sexuality swapping characters. And it's like, I think it can go, it can go really good. It can go really bad.
Is Jack Black playing Ganon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. So I hope for the best, but I don't know, man. I don't know what I want. Like you bring up a good thought there, Charbitus, about it being live action versus animated and ratings. I'm just gonna kind of sit back and do what I do with games, and I'm just gonna let it happen. I'm not gonna try to look at spoilers. I'm just gonna watch the trailer and then eventually just stream it at home.
I don't watch trailers. I feel like they put too much of the movie into it. They kind of ruin it for you now. But I've been waiting my whole life for this, literally. I told you how I got started gaming. So I've, other than the Legend of Zelda cartoon that used to come on every Friday, during the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. The whole "excuse me, princess," that's all I had as far as Zelda cartoons, or shows. So whether they go animated, they go live action, I'm going to be there day one. I'm going to watch it. I'm hoping it's good. I was kind of looking forward to an animated Nintendo cinematic universe because they have all the rumblings of like Star Fox movie coming out and Smash Brothers kind of stuff, and there's so many properties they can go. But if they get the right people on the movie, I live action, I think it can be really, really good. I know the writer for Rise of Skywalker is on it, which is kind of like, and then they have that Avi Arad connected to it, which he did Morbius, which that gets a lot of hate. So it's kind of like, okay, well, let's see what these guys can do.
Yeah, I don't think Nintendo's going to let anything happen to their property. You know, like they let Philips run on the CDO the Zelda games back in the day, and they've never let go. They made that mistake once. They won't. I don't think they'll make it again.
Yeah, I think Miyamoto is going to be there, and he's going to watch it and be like, no, this isn't good enough. Go back and reshoot the whole thing.
Yeah. Awesome. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any topics?
Nah.
Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah.
All right. Did any of y'all pick up the PS Portal?
The PS Portal?
Tell me, you don't know about this? Of course
What,
you
is it
don't.
like a handheld?
Yeah, so it's a handheld you can only use in the area of your PS5. Like you have to be on the same Wi-Fi. So it's like a Steam Deck for your house.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess.
Is it?
So, like, I mean,
Is it?
I think so. All right. Well, okay. Have you guys seen the price point for Steam Deck? I don't know what the price point is for that, but
I have
It's
no
close.
idea.
Price. I think PS Portal is around $300, and the baseline Steam Deck is like $350. But the PS Portal, I think, has better specs because you're just streaming to it. It doesn't have like the screen is better because there's nothing in the actual device that has to be used for computing. But I think anybody who's heavily invested in a PlayStation ecosystem that has no interest in PC gaming whatsoever, it could be beneficial for them if they're a dad and need to be in another room or hide in a closet for 10 minutes while their kids are doing something.
Yeah.
My personal preference would be if I was someone who owned a PlayStation and didn't have a PC, would be to get the Steam Deck, because then you can still stream your PlayStation to Steam Deck anyway. It just won't look as good.
I didn't know you could do that.
very, very true. Yeah, you can.
So what's the point of this property other than what Samuel's just said? Like, why
honestly,
would
when I look
need
at it, well, contrary to what you were saying, because I did a little research on it. So on the PlayStation website, it does say that you don't have to be at home to use it. It can actually be played anywhere you have broadband internet, Wi-Fi with at least megabits per second. But they recommend at least 15 megabits per second. So apparently you have your library. It's basically like a Switch, right? But it says if you're using a public Wi-Fi, beware that the quality of internet may be out of your control and could impact your quality of play experience. So at first I thought it was like a Wii U. Like, okay, they came up with a Wii U where you're tethered to your PlayStation in your house, but you can actually take it on the go where there's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, if it was able to put out the same basically graphical experience that I mean, it wouldn't be the same, but pretty good graphical experience streamed from your PlayStation at home, I could totally see it. Based on my personal experience with streaming games to my Steam Deck from Xbox, even being attached to the same network and having pretty good internet, I don't know how successful that system would be. But if you're in a place where you can't bring your PlayStation with you and you can bring that with you, but you're, stuck in a place with Wi-Fi for a couple hours, I think that could potentially be a solid win if it's a consistent enough play.
So, okay.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to how strong that Wi-Fi is, because when I go visit my pops and I talk to my brother, and it's like, hey, I got to update Halo Infinite. It's whatever megabytes, it takes them like days because the internet is so slow where they live, right? So if you're out at this public spot and you have this Wi-Fi, it's like they better have some dang powerful Wi-Fi to be running some of these games, right?
Yeah.
I think I honestly, if I were to buy something like that, I wouldn't be playing anything that's like super, I don't know, competitive, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I'm playing something like Farming
Minecraft.
Simulator or Minecraft. Exactly, dude. Exactly. And I'm chilling in my bed, dude. My computer's on the other side of the house, and I'm chilling in my bed.
Yeah,
Like,
you play it for like 30 minutes before sleep while you're laying in
yeah.
your bed.
Yeah, but
I'll probably fall
is that
with in
worth
my
it?
hands.
And also, Staminators, does a Steam Deck need to be on Wi-Fi, or can you run that offline?
No, you can run it offline. You just have to have the game actually downloaded on the Steam Deck, right? So like if you're going to play something offline, it would have to be something downloaded from the Steam Store, Epic Store, GOG Store on your local device. And the advantage Steam Deck has in that regard is that like stuff will sync back when you reconnect to Wi-Fi, which is kind of nice. But you do not need to be connected to Wi-Fi to play stuff you already have downloaded.
Okay, so it sounds like to me, not only do I have more games available to me on my Steam Deck via just Steam, let's just say Steam and not even talk about the Game Pass and everything else I can get on it with the Windows system, than I can on my PlayStation Portal, Portal. Like, and the price point's similar. Am I wrong in that?
I think it is, but I'm not super sure what the Portal's price is. If the Portal's price was only like $125, I could totally see it being viable.
Agreed, but I doubt it is. I'm probably like $350, right? So I am going. If I had a choice, I'm not a handheld guy, anyways. I don't even play my Switch handheld. I like refuse to, but I could not justify buying this PlayStation Portal. I can't do it. That's not for me. But
Yeah, they have them at Target. I think I saw them for $199, so it's like $200. But for me, it's
okay.
a hard pay. Like I would never use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Honestly, like, it's the $300 is not worth me being lazy in my bed.
No, and then like back in the day, I'd lay in the bed and play my Switch, and then my hands would go numb, and then have to flip over, and then my elbows hurt. I'm like, just God damn it, I'll just go sit on a chair. And yeah.
And my backlog is so long, I just would go grab my PSP and try playing one of those games I never got to yet.
There you go, PSP. Damn, that was back in the day.
Yeah, I trust me, I still have games to play for that.
That's good. And then you're gonna graduate to the Vita, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Then I got to go to I got to get one of those first, but
there you go. Awesome. Great. All right, so we're kind of all in the same idea with the PS Portal. It's a neat idea. Technology's not really, I don't think it's there yet for it. Like, they're really pushing this streaming thing, and they're just trying different ways. It'll get there one day, but I don't think it's there yet. But
I definitely
they're sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I definitely think it's a delicacy. Especially in America, like we kind of take for granted what Wi-Fi we have available, but it's laughable because a lot of us still have Wi-Fi that isn't good enough to stream, but we still have better Wi-Fi than like 99% of the rest of the planet.
Yeah,
And they're still trying to sell these streaming things that even we struggle to play on. It's crazy.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just see them trying to do this. They're taking the physical media away slowly but surely. We talked about them taking the manuals out, and they're taking out the little extra knickknacks they put in the games, and now you see Best Buy and these other stores aren't going to be carrying DVDs and stuff, which isn't such a bad thing. But the games are coming next, because I walk down the aisles and I see there's barely any games there, but they have all the the digital cards.
Well, and also they sell consoles at a loss normally. So if you can completely remove the console and just be releasing games on, say, Game Pass, and you're able to stream that's basically profit.
Yeah.
That's manuals and all the other stuff, because they can just squeeze out a little bit of extra profit.
Yeah, exactly. They take out that, and then they're taking the case away entirely, which is funny because, you buy a game now at the store and it's the same price as digital. You would think you'd get some sort of price break since they don't have to pay for manufacturing a disc or a case or anything, but you're going to be paying the same full price for a digital game, and then you can't resell it. You're stuck with it. You can't put it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist if people are still using it. I can't give it to somebody to borrow or to keep because I'm done with it. It's just going to be in the library forever. And that these executives are just loving it. Like, yeah, they're not going to make no money off us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's two thoughts to that, and I agree with everything you just said. However, like I buy my kids everything on the Switch on a digital platform because I don't want them losing that $60 cart that's the size of a postage stamp, right?
That is beneficial, yes.
Yeah, so I'm totally for that. However, for myself, like I will buy physical games when it's, we'll say the Wii and older. Anything newer that I can buy, well, I don't have a Wii U or any of that, but for like my Xbox games, I buy everything digitally. Excuse me, buy it digitally and not on a disc. And I don't know why, but I don't really care to have physical newer games. I'd rather have it digitally. But you're right, I can't sell it. I don't know. I have started collecting huge in the last 2 years, the old media, but I think a lot of us have just because now we're older. But it is what
Yeah, no,
it
that
is.
is a good point. That is a good point. And what's cool then is it's connected to your account, right? Because at least that way, if you lost the system, you wouldn't lose out on all those games along with it. You'd be able to still have them tethered to your account. So that's always good too.
Yeah.
I guess my thing is just, going back to being told we were going to own nothing and like it. And it's kind of like, well, I like having my games on my shelf. I like being able to look at them. And there's actually another YouTuber. I don't know if you're familiar with Retro Bird.
Yeah.
And I love the dude. One of the jokes he talked about is like, oh yeah, you're getting ready to go to bed and you're just you're staring at your games before you go to bed. And he's just sitting there looking at them all. I'm like, yeah, I can relate to that. I just look over my collection and like, oh yeah, I remember that game. And oh, that one's looking good. Oh, let me dust this one real quick. And there's something about collecting where you just don't get that same satisfaction when it's in a digital library. So I guess that's just part of being of the old school stuff. These kids are going to grow up. I just saw your newest video of checking out the games, and there's no Toys R Us really where you're going in and have all the different kiosks to play the games before you buy them. But now you got a Game Pass where you can download it and try it out for a little bit. So it's kind of better in that sense, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for watching that video, by the way. I thought I just threw that together yesterday, but yeah, I love the Retro Bird. Every Friday he always has a new idea, and I always think like, how does he keep coming up with these different ideas, and how do I it's so good every time. And I agree with almost everything he's saying, except for he always loves Vector Man, and the other one he loves that I can't get into, but that's okay. We all have different taste. But all right, anything else you guys want to hop in and say and talk about, discuss anything that you want to talk about that your wives don't want to listen to you talk about?
Nothing really, man. Honestly, you guys have already talked about a bunch of stuff that I've never even is a thing. So
yeah, I could, but I know you just got to 500 subscribers, and I don't want to upset anybody to where they start unsubscribing.
Bro, if they got this far, they can handle it. Bring it. This podcast isn't supposed to be censored, right? This is for like the incredibly niche people. So go ahead. Bring it on.
Okay. Well, my only complaint, and I haven't played it because I'm kind of torn on buying it or not, and that's Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
And I hear a lot of good things about it, and I hear people praising it. It's on the game of the year list, and I don't think they've made their money back on it yet, but it's made a ton of money, and it's on its way to doing that. But I just feel like nowadays, instead of people writing good stories that are, fantasy or revolve around something that happens in the comics, people are doing a lot of self-inserting into the writing, which I know you're taught as a writer to write what you know, but at a certain point you kind of got to step back and take yourself out of it. And I saw an interview with like one of the main developers, if not the main developer, and this guy was basically, I have some quotes that he said about the first game where people didn't like the Mary Jane missions and they kind of complained about it. And so he's quoted as saying, the Mary Jane missions, where do I begin? I heard all the feedback. We heard all the feedback. And I felt like it was a cop-out if we didn't have them. I felt like it was really important to prove that we can make them better. Some people might not like them. I understand that. To the point where we even put her playable at the beginning of the last mission. Mary Jane is OP. She's really OP. I don't give a shit. he also says, give people the stuff you know that they want, so you can inject things that maybe they aren't familiar with, or maybe they don't know they want, but make them like that stuff. So it's sort of like, people are saying, hey, we don't like this stuff, and he's just giving you more of it because he's trying to push whatever things, and he's blatantly saying, oh, they might not like it, but just force them to like it. And
I wonder why.
What's that?
Why would he say this? Like, why would he want to do that?
That's the whole thing. The video I was watching was kind of like, it sounds like he said the quiet part out loud, right? It's kind of a joke. So I don't understand where some of these people come with. That's the thought process where the way we live now, and everybody can talk to each other. He can easily get online and get feedback from fans. And instead of giving fans what they want and making money, it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to do that. But at the same time, they're still making the money, right? People are still loving the game. But, in the first game, it was like, oh, you got to play as Mary Jane. And they're like, well, we don't like that. And he's like, well, now I'm going to make you do it 5 times in the new game. And so it's kind of like, okay, thanks for that. And
I get what you're saying. And I get how you're kind of scared of saying it, but I'm exactly with you. Like, why do people who they develop video games for a living, or they make movies or TV shows, or actors, famous people, right? Why do they think they're so important to where they think they can, like, they have to do something to try to change the world? Like, bro, you make a video game for a living. If you died tomorrow, I'm not wishing any ill on anybody, but okay, let's just say they disappeared tomorrow and they were obliterated, they never existed. Like, what did they really do to make the world better? I know I'm getting really deep and like really rude. If you like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to say, like, what does that game Spider-Man 2 really do to make the world better? Did that stop the war in Ukraine and Russia? Did that have anything to do with it? No. So, like, my point is, like, why are they injecting their little thoughts and opinions, like you said, writing themselves in? Like, why is that a constant? Like, Disney has destroyed themselves by doing that. Yeah. Like, I won't watch Marvel anymore. I won't watch Star Wars anymore because it's too much, man. Like, I just want to watch somebody get like hit in the face with a lightsaber. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I upset anybody. I don't mean any ill will, like anything like that, but I'm just trying to have a good time and swing around buildings and be Spider-Man. I don't need your agenda pushed on me. But the other side of the coin too, though, I do like when they do character creators where you can make yourself anybody you want to be. I think that's awesome. And that's what video games are for. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll stop before I get canceled.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, honestly. Yeah, I feel like there's too much wokeness being brought to an area of entertainment that shouldn't have to be concerned with that.
Yes, that's probably a more elegant way of saying it. Thanks, Salts.
You're welcome. It's just, it's very, very exhausting, if you will, watching that crap.
Yeah, and it takes me out of it. Like, I see parts of like, I'll be watching something or be playing something and it pulls me completely out because I know they're trying to make a statement. For instance, not the newest Jurassic Park, but the one before that. I think it came out in 1718. They released the dinosaurs because they felt too bad to kill them. Like, yeah. It blew my mind. They're fucking dinosaurs, bro. They've been extinct for years. Now they're gonna go kill everybody because you're too much of a wimp. I know it's fake, but they wanted to show that they care about an animal.
That were extinct until we brought them back. Kind of thing. Like, okay.
And there was like this. It seemed like some woke agenda, and at that point, I was like, I think I'm done with Jurassic Park. I'm gonna go back to the 1990s and watch the first one and just stop. Because they ruined it.
Have you guys seen the any clips or anything of the new South Park episode that came out where they were talking? They kind of went at Disney a bit.
Oh yeah.
You guys saw that?
No, I haven't.
I used my free trial to Paramount Plus. They were offering one like with some South Park code. I used it just to watch the episode, the event or whatever.
Yeah.
It was great. Everything that they said in it, I pretty much agreed with.
So is it what we're talking about in a sense, but South Park did it right?
Spot on. Yeah, and they just call attention and by basically just calling out Disney by making every character a woman or ethnic or like some other crap, and just going out of their way to make stuff digestible, in quotation, right?
Yeah.
For other ethnic groups or LGBTQ or
Yeah.
insert acronym here, right?
Yeah, there's a balance, right? Like, obviously, we're not saying it all needs to be a certain way in the way it was. No, but don't force it down our throats. Does that make sense?
100%. I agree. And like, it's not to say that I don't agree that people deserve representation. Okay, cool. But don't make it a point every movie that comes out. Like, why go back and change Aladdin or change another movie to reflect that? It was fine the way it was.
Yeah, I agree. I just watched Aladdin the other day and on Disney Plus just because I want my kids to watch Aladdin because I think it's a badass movie. And there was a disclaimer saying like the things depicted in this movie aren't what we currently like and discuss. Like,
and subtle things too. Like if you ever watched Lilo and Stitch, right? And there was a scene where she hid inside of a dryer. You go back and watch it now, and it's not a dryer; it's like a cupboard.
No.
Yeah, because they don't want kids climbing in the dryer.
Exactly, right?
That makes sense. I caught my kid doing that, and I yelled at him. Right. It scared the shit out of me. That. Yeah, I guess you don't need to edit that.
No, I feel you.
Whatever.
My thing, like it's right on line with that, and I have no hate in my heart for anybody like that. I mean, my brother-in-law is like my best friend. We go see movies all the time together, and he's gay, and he's always saying, I don't understand what's going on with the world. Back in my time when you were fighting for equal rights, and we got them.
Yeah,
we had equal rights. He goes, and now we're just looking for stuff to, throw fits over and for things to be mad about. And so he gets pretty upset about it and likes to joke about this stuff. And so it's just always funny because if you speak out and say, I don't like this, well, then you're an ist, you're a phobe, and you're a misogynist and all this and that. And it's sort of like, listen, man, like 5% of the population goes that way, but like 95% of the media that's coming out now is aimed that way. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The balance isn't really there.
I think it makes people feel better if they're like, yeah, I agree with this minority, and I feel good because I don't know. I watch them do this. It's like, that's great. Like I love your movies. Like I like Moana. That's an awesome one. Or what's the ninja one from Disney? Mulan. I think that's that right one. That movie, that was awesome, right? That was a female taking power, and they wasn't throwing it down our faces. That was the way to do it.
Showing up the boys, right?
Yeah.
Like proving she can hang and that was perfect.
Right.
I feel like that was and that was done back in like what, the 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, no, that must have been like mid 90s. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it was a long time ago. I remember
that's the problem now.
VHS.
Yeah, it's a VHS. That's how old it was.
Is the movies they come out with the leads like that? They have to put everybody else like down around them, right, to elevate themselves.
Yeah.
So like if look at Nick Fury, he got pushed to the side, and he's basically getting treated like trash because they have to elevate these other characters for the Marvels, And what's funny, you bring up the Pandaverse, the South Park one. The main line in it is, Cartman's Kathleen Kennedy, and he keeps saying, put a chick in it and make it gay and lame. and they really got Disney really got upset about that. There were insiders, I guess, sources that said that it really upset them. So much so to the point that in the movie The Marvels, they were going to have Captain Marvel, Brie Larson's character, and Valkyrie from the Thor series. They were going to have them have a gay relationship.
Oh,
and they were going to like talk about that, like we work better as partners instead of as being in a relationship. But they got roasted so hard by South Park with this put a chick in it, make it gay and lame, that they removed that whole part of the movie.
Good, they listened.
So I mean, it's going back to Spider-Man with the self-insert thing, the writer. So a lot of people are saying, Mary Jane doesn't look the same. She looked ugly. They made her face kind of fat, and she doesn't look like the model that was playing Mary Jane. And when you do a side by side with the writer, it looks like this girl who did the writing. So it's almost as if the development team modeled the new look after her. And she is queer and she is deaf. And the only reason why you know this is because if you go to her, info or whatever, it shows her bio, like that's what she's prominent and proud of. Is like, hey, I'm queer and I'm deaf. So in the game, you can't save, Spider-Man can't save an NPC without, it being a guy and him going, oh, thanks for saving my life. I got to get home and make dinner for my husband, or I got to, if it's a girl, I got to get home to my wife, so it's a lot of that. And then one of the side missions is with Miles Morales, you're helping a boy ask another boy to the high school prom. So like that's a side mission. You got to go on a side mission to do this so that you can set it up for him to have this grandiose, asking of the prom on top of one of the buildings.
Yeah.
And then Miles Morales has a deaf girlfriend. There's the other self-insert from this writer.
Yeah.
And the noise is completely gone from the game to, hey, I'm deaf. So you don't get to hear anything. And she goes around spraying graffiti on walls, and all of it is about, people being racist towards black people. And then if you remember in the first Spider-Man game, if there was some sort of crime happening, the police were everywhere. They would show up all the time. And in the second one, the police, they're non-existent because we got to defund the police.
Oh, man.
They're nowhere to be found. And so it's like and I'm not saying, this is wrong or this is bad, but this is all from this writer's perspective of how she feels and what she wants, I guess. And she's putting it all into the game instead of, like I said before, just write me a good story. I don't have to know about your life and what you feel. If you don't like the police, okay, that's fine. But I mean, why wouldn't the police be coming after a perp, or a criminal that Spider-Man is chasing down? I mean, it's just, at some point you have to kind of step back and just write a good story. I just want to be entertained. I don't want to be preached to. We all have to go out into the world and see things that we don't like, and then we want to come home and we want to unwind, and we're getting it from all sides,
Yeah, agreed.
One of the things I feel like is just overbearing. It's just it is being shoved down your throat around every, and it's like I said earlier, it's like, it's not that you have a negative opinion towards these things or towards these people, but it's just that, when did it become a point to where I had to have an opinion and that everyone had to know my opinion?
That's a good point.
It's just overbearing. Like, I shouldn't have to explain myself or any of that crap just to enjoy myself in a entertainment space.
Yeah. I have a lot more to talk about it, but if I start talking, it's going to reveal my background and what I do for a living, and I don't want to. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't even know why I said anything, but are there anything else you guys want to get into? Anything lighter we can end on?
You guys should download Rainbow Six. I need some people to play with, dude. I'm lonely.
No. Is that a hero shooter too, in a sense?
What's that?
Is that a hero shooter? Like your hero has certain abilities?
Oh yeah. Everyone's got, all the characters have like abilities. They can help your team in different kind of ways.
Yeah.
Is it Siege?
Rainbow Six.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing that for a while. When I first got my my Xbox, it came with Assassin's Creed Origins and Siege, and I was playing Siege for a while, but I wasn't really that good at it, so I kind of stopped playing after a while.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got a steep learning curve to it, but once you get your bearings to it, man, it's actually.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun playing it. I felt bad because on one of the missions, it was to disarm a bomb, and I was like in the room, and it was myself and one other guy left, and we were the only ones alive. And it was a guy with a shield, and he backed himself into a corner, and I could not kill this guy, and I didn't have enough experience to know how to kill him. So we ended up losing the match, and everybody was telling me I sucked. And I wasn't that I was upset for them telling me I sucked. It was more I felt bad because I let my team down, these strangers that I know nothing about, but it hurt so bad because was like, this guy was in the corner and I was the only one left and I couldn't even do anything to help them. And so it was like, man, I
It's
suck.
a it's funny like when a new player gets on and they encounter a shield operator like that, they panic, right? But once you play for a little while, you'll learn that shield operators in that game are so easy to deal with. Like you just gotta run up to them and melee them. That's it. You melee them and their shield will go flying out of the way, and you can just gun them.
Mm.
So easy to
Yeah.
deal with.
Yeah. See, I didn't know. And I
Yep.
just was putting everything I had into him and it just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's either that or you could take a C4, you could lob a C4 over their shield and blow them up that way. But there's a bunch of different ways you can deal with them. If you have another teammate, you could pinch them. You know.
Mm. That sounds
So
fun.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was cool because then you'd have the little remote control cars, right? The with
oh,
the
the little
cameras, and you
drones,
go
yeah.
in. Yeah, that was a fun game for sure. I might have to jump back into that.
Yeah, it's making a little comeback. Everyone got sick of playing Call of Duty, and I noticed a big swing back into Siege and Fortnite because Fortnite came out with no builds.
Yeah, they
OG.
reset it too. Yeah.
Yeah, so like everyone's been kind of like ditching Call of Duty because they're just sick of the same shit being forced down your throat.
Yep.
You know, so
For
it's
Call of Duty, for me, I just can't support it. I'm not going to go into it because we already touched on this
Yeah,
stuff
right.
before. But look it up if you're not familiar with Nick Merckx
yeah, I know.
and Call of Duty. And for me, like that was all I needed to hear. And I was like, no, I'm good.
So
I don't need to play.
what happened with Nick Merckx? Because I'm familiar with him.
You talking about the skin situation?
Yeah, the whole thing with the skins.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into it, but the short story is basically down in I think it was Glendale, California. There were parents at a school, I think it was a high school or an elementary school, something, and they were saying that they didn't want to have the kids learning about like trans sex and stuff like that. And there was a big protest where they had trans people there that came out to anti-protest the parents that didn't want their kids to be learning about trans sex in class. And Nick Merckx saw it, and all he did was tweet out like, leave the kids alone.
leave the
And
kids out of it.
Activision, like, the trans community lost their mind, and so Activision like took his skins off the store and basically cut ties with him. And so he had a friend that did this, like took his skins off the store, and
Tim the Tap Man
so
said, "Hey, if Nick can't have his, you might as well take mine too, because that's bullshit."
Mm.
So they took Tim's too, and
yeah,
that was the ship they were willing to go down with, man. They were willing to stick to their guns on that, and Nick Merckx has a massive community.
Yeah.
So,
What games are they playing now? Obviously not playing COD. They go Fortnite?
Yeah. So I guess they went back to Fortnite. They've been playing Rainbow Six. Right, recently a lot of Fortnite. Yeah, they've been playing a shit lot of Fortnite. And Apex. Like Nick Merckx was really big into Apex for a while.
yeah.
I could see that. Probably CS:GO too, a little bit.
Oh yeah, because that CS:GO 2 it was that's free to play, right? I think that's free to play.
Yeah, free to play.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you had already had CS:GO, I don't remember, but
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, you guys see the Half-Life documentary NoClip did?
No.
Go watch that tonight. You all play Half-Life? It hit 25 years the other day. Yeah, Salts, I made you play it.
Yeah. That was my little homework that you gave me.
Yeah, 100%.
I played it.
Go watch that documentary. It's pretty sick. They also did updates to the game, and then they added levels to the multiplayer. I guess it's got a population again. People are playing it.
Oh wow.
What is it streaming on?
What? Oh, it's a PC game on
No,
Steam.
the documentary.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Okay,
Yeah, it's
cool.
free. NoClip. Definitely check out NoClip. It's another. It's like a video game documentary channel. They do incredibly good documentaries. Like, they did one for Hitman, and they flew out to Denmark, and they sat down and with the developers of Hitman from back in the day and where they are today. It was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna leave it here, and you guys got anything else you want to say or last words?
Nah, man, this was cool. This was really cool.
I'll have to have you back
Yeah,
again.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right, boys.
All right.
Hey, it was nice meeting you. Thanks for